Welcome back, everybody, to your daily update on the state of the wastelands mostly these days because there's not much Malayan Empire left in the Malayan Book of the Fallen. This is the second ramblings on Dust of Dreams, Book 4. I'm going to be finished tomorrow and then we're going to start the Crippled God. So expect something pretty brutal tomorrow. but Today we have to talk about other stuff. So let's get right into it. Cheers. All right. So, I mean, plot-wise, a lot of stuff is happening. Our friendly, backstabbing elder gods are freeing the Ototaral dragon, Korabas, that is going to do something brutal. We can be sure of that, because obviously, being the Ototaral dragon, it is aspected as like not even entropy, probably the antithesis of magic. It will destroy magic and everything like that. They're doing it anyway because some people are dumb. We also have a lot of other stuff going on. I'm just gonna pick out a few things that I find or found interesting to look at. And the first of those is the conversation, not really the conversation between Olar Ethil, Torrent, and the two dragons or not dragons or whatever, Tellerust and Curdle. But before that, Torrent's ruminations on cities. I feel they kind of also harken back to something that happened yesterday. Not yesterday, but I didn't talk about, but in I think it's chapter 19 when Badal thinks about cities being mouths that swallow down everything, and now with Torrent as someone who is from a nomad people, and his idea of living lightly on the land and actual fortified cities or cities in general being something of a claim to land and possession. I think that's an important aspect to look at. There is like that whole idea that with a nomad society living lightly on the land, you have that idea of how to say, of living in, if not unity, then in like some kind of partnership with the land. Like the land you live on does not really belong to you. You just basically live on it and borrow it and so forth. At least that's sort of the idea there, I guess. Whereas once you actually take roots there and build your city, you claim that ground for yourself. And claiming that ground for yourself necessarily means that you deny the land some right to itself. And thus, you potentially claim for yourself the right to destroy the land that you're living on and surrounding. Now, that obviously, in the first place, as Torrent remarks, or at least thinks about, makes it easy for someone like the Letheri, as a people that lives in cities and builds like actual fortified towns and stuff like that, makes it easy for them to claim a right on land, or like displace in a way the all who live very lightly on the land, because they have, they just have tents, they move on. It does that, but on the other hand, it also is one of the steps of most settled people, whether it's the Kachin in this case or humanity. It's one of those steps of sentient beings taking over the land, destroying everything around it, and thus, obviously, in the end, working towards their like own annihilation. How that has come in the case of the Kachin is something that we're not going to talk about here, but it's one of the big themes all over the Malayan Book of the Fallen, but especially once again now here in Dust of Dreams, that idea that nature itself is trying to rid rid herself from these humans that are slowly destroying it. And yes, building these cities, staking claims, um, is one of those steps in taking away nature's, or the land's in this case, autonomy. Which, once you think about the fact that in the Malayan world, there is a sleeping goddess, Burn, on whose flesh all of that takes place, this becomes even more like obvious, I guess, is the word I'm looking for here. Like, it becomes more apparent that this is highly problematic, or can be seen as highly problematic. Now, obviously, I'm a good one to talk because I live in a city, but I guess it's something that we can, sit back and think about. Is like, what kind of relationship we as people have, as humans have, towards the land, or relationship we have with the land that we live on, how we treat it. And if not, like, one of those is really the idea of possession, and thus giving us the right to do with the place whatever the fuck we want. I mean, now obviously, in a Christian context, there is that whole idea that God gave the world to Adam, I guess is the guy, and told him to go out and just take the whole place. There is that. Um, but isn't that just like an expression of something that we already, maybe on a deeper level, have in the moon, that when we actually go somewhere and stake a claim and say that's our place now? Isn't that like the same thing in the end? So I felt that's one of those really interesting and important things to look at, I think. All right. Another thing that I found interesting is in the idea, obviously, of justice, how Brederal thinks about it when she is in that city, that her being killed would be just in a way as well. And that idea of justice that Kachan, not the Kachan Jamal, that the Forkrow Assail espouse. Now, I'm obviously going to talk about that at some point in the future in like broader length. Broader length, what a bullshit. Now, I'm in like more like detail, I think, but it's interesting to see that if you think that idea to its logical end, it basically means the annihilation of everyone, including the Forkrow Assail. On the other hand, I think one, like, the things that Badal is thinking about. I mean, a lot of that stuff is happening inside the heads of people, but Badal is thinking about the idea of survival not being enough, and this, I feel is important because while humanity and humans are capable of absolute extremes when it is bare and survival that is at stake, we are capable of incredible things. Why the ribby snake is one of those like examples in a poetic way, but it's something that we see in everyday humanity as well. When you look at refugees of like famine in Africa, mostly these days, or some parts of Asia, you look at refugees, the lengths they go to survive are astonishing, and it's basically incomprehensible for people like you and me. You being a very general you, I have no idea who you are, obviously. Most people can't even begin to comprehend the length we would go to as humans when our naked survival, a struggle for really naked survival, is at stake. But on the other hand, as Badal rightly surmises, that is not enough. You need to make plans for the future. You need to have something more than just bare survival, because bare survival reduces us to something that is less than human in a way. Because being human means more. It means to have dreams, aspirations, goals to make the world a better place, and bare survival is not that. Bare survival is like the minimum of nature, right? It's what we spoke about in Memories of Ice early on. The idea that all of nature is basically war for survival, and that is not enough. And I guess that's sort of the important bit there, is that it is not enough. but it's also something that is not in that, you know, it is a call to action for us. It is a call to action for us to actually make it more than just naked survival. To be aware, to be compassionate, to not take everything we can take, to maybe take a bit less, and actually look into the future, make the future count, make the future something worth living for. Because naked survival, while being in our like animal soul, not animal soul, but in our in our animal nature, basically, is, as I said, not enough. So I feel, and this I think is the interesting issue there as well, that Badal does not go and kill Brederal, but sends her out. I mean, it still kind of means Brederal's death, most likely, but that she is making the choice not to go the brutal nature way and just kill her is exactly that first step on the path to making something new, to making it more than just bare survival. The next step, obviously, is leaving the city and continuing to building something new. Now, I'm not going to go too deeply into what Sadik finds down there in the city that Ikarium built, and where Jagat and Kachain Jamal live together. That's a lot of lore stuff that I'm not comfortable with talking about, because I suspect I should read Karkanas before I do that. But one thing that I wanted to, shortly remark upon is the fact how Badal has all these dreams that then show us other things, because she can apparently slip the moorings of her flesh and slip into the minds of others. Might be something similar to what Bottle does with animals, but she obviously can do it with conscious beings. In this case, Gorul, the Chigal assassin, because through her eyes we basically see him snatch Gessler and Stormy, who are becoming the mortal sword and shield anvil of the Kachain Shamal. Ain't that gonna be fun in the future? But that's something we'll have to talk about. Like, we'll have more to talk about relatively soon, I guess. Yeah, I just wanted to, I mean, we've seen that before in chapter 19 at some point, I think. But this time around, it's even clearer, and we like have the direct, like, how to say, um, like confirmation of her powers there. So yeah, that's something to look at. Um, Now there's something that I wanted to talk about yesterday and kind of forgot, and it's a really weird small thing that I am maybe have to look into more. But there's one thing in chapter 19 when Atricida Aranict is thinking about Quick Ben, and she thus thought his name was Quick Ben because of him being quick, which, quick of thought, which is interesting. And then she thinks, because you see more of him, that his name Quick comes from the word quick, from him being quixotic. And I'm like, I know this is like a weird thing to say, but this is sort of a play on words going on there. But if I'm not much mistaken, the word quixotic comes from that novel Don Quixote. So someone thinking a pun, or like making that kind of word connection to a word that is extremely closely linked to a fictional work in our world, just kind of made me like go, the fuck. Now, once again, I might be completely wrong, because I'm not an etymologist, and maybe the word quixotic comes from something entirely different, but that's sort of what I figured. And I didn't do any research, because I never do research. Anyway, just wanted to drop this in. If you want to like argue with me on that one, go right ahead. Um, so yeah, there's that. Um, Another thing I feel is interesting to look at. I mean, yes, there is the whole thing of Gessler and Stormy being snatched and how the army reacts and stuff like that. We see how Ballistic is losing his hold on his soldiers and so forth. And I feel this is one of the things that is coming through, interestingly enough, through Korab. His mind and his thinking about Leoman and the adjunct, and that kind of goes downwards towards Blizdig and so forth. The idea of commanders caring for their soldiers in a way, or using those soldiers, and while both work in a way, and Korab decides that he's more happy with the adjunct because the adjunct thinks and cares about her soldiers and doesn't just want to use them and throw them away like Korab, like Leoman did. They both at least, need their soldiers for something. What happened with Blizdig, and that's why both of those commanders had a really had a loyal following, because they at least, like, both of those have a need for their soldiers, and soldiers can feel that. But with Blizdig having like basically given up, he has given up that hold over his soldiers completely. They're like making fun of him and so forth, but in the end, it is that he has no need for his soldiers. He doesn't care what happens to his soldiers. He'd like to be one of them, one of those people who don't need to think and have no responsibility. Now, Leoman has responsibility for his soldiers. He just fucks it up consciously because he, being an asshole. But he still, makes them feel that they are needed. And the adjunct, on the other hand, obviously seems to care for her soldiers. That's the other thing there. So I just found that was an interesting point to look at in that part. There's obviously something going on with Sanderlath through Korlat and what's her name? Mother Dark. What's her name? Mother Dark. Yeah. Point is, I feel it is too early to actually, make like clever like commentary on it. Not that my commentary is that clever, but right now there's just the beginnings of her of Korlat's dissolution, Sanderlath through Korlat's like how being back in the presence of Mother Dark and still having like these feelings of inadequacy, something bad is coming of this, and you can just see the start of it here. Yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out. I'll be go back into details of that later on. I feel similar with Draconis and Ublala Pung. You know, there is more to that, but I feel right now not enough of it has been, shown openly. So I don't feel there's that much like to be said about it, I guess. So yeah, what else was there? Um, there was one sentence, like a super small sentence near the end with a Sinter and Baran Gruk, and she says that really one sentence that really touched me on a very personal level. I'm not sure how deep I want to go with this today. Pity and love don't dwell together, and it's very true, and it's a very very sad aspect of a lot of things. So yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this. I just said that I wanted to point out that it is something that really like hit me on a very personal emotional level. I'm just not sure if I'm like able to explain that in it, or want to go that way and explain all of that, because it is, as I said, a very like dark and personal thing. Um, like a second ago, I had something else that I wanted to talk about, and now yeah, I have lost it. which, happens from time to time. Oh yeah, right. Onos Tulan and the others, and seeing the way, and like that way we have all these like thoughts of the Talani Mass, and once again, the way Talani Mass I feel is very interesting. You have all of these people that then decide that they are not going to follow Onos Tulan, but they're just going along for the time being and then doing something else. And if and the question whether that is exactly if that is his doing, or if it's just or if it's something else, or if it's just circumstance, is a very interesting question, because they're still following, right? They're still going with him. It's just a question of who is doing how much in there, and that's sort of the conversation that those two bonecasters with the names I can't remember have, and we'll see where that is going in the future. Anyway, I feel that's enough for today. I'll be back tomorrow with the rest of Dust of Dreams. Until then, have a great Tuesday, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Until then, cheers.